Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome to my 6th place regional deck profile from a remote regional I played in just today. And it was a lot of fun. I ended up 4 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. My loss was to Tearlament. I opened awful both games. And my draw was to, I think it was to Branded Bestial, where I also just drew awful both games. But fortunately, one of the games I was still able to pull through. Get a win, so we got a draw off of that. So yeah, I think that this deck is really cool. I think that I might need to address some of the issues with the deck building, but I think that this deck is actually just really strong and really underrated this format, especially just tributing for cost is just actually insane. So I think that you should absolutely give this deck a shot. I'll probably be playing it tomorrow on stream on Master Duel if you want to watch. Although Cone and Princess aren't legal, so it's not nearly as fun. But I probably will be playing this deck tomorrow on stream. So just if you guys were interested. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into the profile. So I'll get to this later. We're gonna start off. I like to do this by engines, so that's what we're gonna do today. 3 copies of Lokai with the 1 sewing and the 1 twin. The reason we're playing the 1 sewing is because Ash is not very popular in this format, so like I don't really think that this is gonna get negated very often. If it does, like it's kind of just like, oh well, it's like whatever. But I don't mind. On Master Duel, I definitely prefer playing 2. So like in formats where like Ash is more popular, like played the 2 sewing because it's obviously just better, I think. But in this format, I think that the 1 was completely fine. Also, because Ash wasn't very popular in this format, I decided to, instead of playing Unexpected Die, to go for 1-for-1 and Lone Fire Blossom, which seems like a really awful decision at first glance. But the reason for that is because I wanted to fit Bestials in my deck. And obviously you can't use Unexpected Die if you control monsters, so I decided to just go a little bit more heavy on some normal summons, which isn't like the worst thing ever. It's because if you open something like Snowdrop, you can definitely get these out of your hand, and then just turn these into free advantage. So it's really good. I think that they're definitely worth playing. Normally I would just play the 1 copy of Lone Fire Blossom just because it's a really nice bridge off of Jasmine. We're also on 2 copies of Painful Decision. This card, I mean, it's a good card, don't get me wrong, but I kind of hated it because in every single hand that I saw this today, it would have just been better to be anything else because I drew Lokai with it every day, every hand, sorry. And so it was just like, what was the point of playing this card? Like the point was to like always draw, like see Lokai, but I saw it too many times, which was really annoying. For Rikka Engine, we're on 2 copies of Petal, we're on 2 copies of Princess, and 1 copy of Formula. I think that this is a pretty solid ratio. Princess is just really good to have as an extra extender sometimes because like you just need the plant monster on field for a lot of your effects sometimes. But it's also just insane being able to access Strenna like out of nowhere, and then also just like retaining a negate is like so good from the grave or the hand. Like that's insane. It's kind of like susceptible to tier limit effects, but like not really because you can just shuffle it back. So like they'll never get rid of this card. It's always so good. Next we're on 3 copies of Mudan. Absolutely just broken, insane card. This is able to search any of your Rikka spell traps, which is just like literally insane. It's literally the enabler for the 1 card combo. The 1 card combo being Petal. You search this, summon this, go Cone, set sheet from deck, and then you have like a negate basically, which is so awesome. Or not a negate, but a tribute and a take. So it's like 2 interruptions basically off 1 card, which is like so crazy. And the last Rikka card we're on is Snowdrop. It's insane being able to get plants out of your hand, but also being able to modulate levels is really good. It can make Strenna, it can make Teardrop. Like it's just broken every single time. It's so good. For Rikka spell traps, we're on 2 copies of Cone, 3 copies of Glamour, and 1 copy of Sheet. So I think that this is a very standard ratio. Maybe the 2 Cone's a little weird, but Cone's absolutely insane. There were a lot of times where I would just activate it and it would just put so much pressure because it's just like if I have Glamour or like Mudan or Snowdrop, like you just lose a monster. And so like there was a lot of times where I would activate this and it would just force out negates because like if they don't negate this, their monster's gone, or at least like threatens their monster. And it was so good because then I could, you know, go into something like there was a lot of times where I would go into Strenna and just add it back, and since it's not an activate once per turn, you just put it back on the field again and then threaten them again. So it was just always so good being able to recycle this card with Strenna, get it back on the field. search like a glamour, tribute their monster for cost. Like, it's just absolutely insane. And I was noticing this didn't come up. I'm pretty sure that this is a soft once per turn to tribute a plant monster. So for example, if you use Cone, tribute one of their monsters, and then you activate another Cone, you can tribute their monster again for like a glamour or like a Mudan. So like, I think that that'll actually come up sometime in the future. I'm pretty sure it didn't come up for me today, but I was just noticing, just reading it, that like that's not a once per turn effect. So it's a soft once per turn, which is actually kind of crazy. Next, we're on the next package, which is Therion. I absolutely love these cards. I was playing Master Duel. I put these in my deck. I did not regret it at all. And I played them today. They were amazing. Lily being able to be an extra extender just for free is so good, because sometimes they'll clear your field. You won't have any monsters, but you'll need to put a monster on board to like activate Mudan or activate Snowdrop, and you don't have a way to do that, but you can go special Lily, and then you can use the Lily effect to like search a Therion monster or spell trap, which is like, it's just so good. Or no, it doesn't search monsters, sorry, but being able to search the Therion spell trap is just so good. Also, it makes your Glamour just like way better, because Glamour can now search Snowdrop and Lily, which is so good. So Glamour can get you access into your Therion engine so easily, and it's just amazing. I love it. And to go along with that, we're playing the one copy of Regulus. Fun fact, I actually opened all 4 in my game against Tyr. Yeah, it was crazy. I opened 3 Lily, 1 Regulus, 1 copy of Sheet. So yeah, I was not playing. I absolutely lost that game. But I just wanted to throw that out there. It was really fun. 1 copy of Disc Coliseum. Card's absolutely insane. The Battle Protection effect didn't come up today, but it's just like, it's very good to know. It's a very good effect. If you kill something by Battle 2, you can just add one of your Therions back, which is so good. Another thing that's actually insane is that if you have Lily like later on in the game and you have a Regulus engrave, you can just attach your Regulus and then it's an Omni. So like, you never need to play more than 2 Regulus ever, or more than 1. So don't ever play 2 Regulus. There's literally no point into it. 1 copy of Therion Cross. You play this because sometimes you get plant locked, so you have to go into some sort of other play. So searching the Therion Cross is great because you can just have a monster negate on top of your board, which is really good. Plus it's a trap card, so it's like a little bit harder for them to deal with. Yeah, that's really about it for the Therion stuff that I really wanted to mention. I side out Cross pretty often, but it is a pretty good card. You could also just not play it in general, up to you, honestly. We play 3 copies of Magnamut, 3 copies of Druid Worm, and the 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. I was, honestly, after playing today, I was very highly considering playing a Lubellion over this Druid Worm. I know it sounds really weird, but like playing Bestial cards, after playing with like the Zodiac deck last week when I played Bestials, I was really wanting to just use my Magnamut to search a Druis, or not a Druis, a Lubellion, to discard it and then search another Magna. And then it would have just been so good, because then I could have like had it like a secondary engine going while I was playing like my Rikka cards. Maybe it's not exactly amazing in this deck. I didn't really miss it all that much. It didn't really come up super often, but like I'm definitely going to consider it sometime in the future. But that's it. That's a solid 40 cards in the main deck. So moving on into the extra deck, we have 3 copies of Dryas. You play 3 because sometimes you get imprimed on this one. So you can go like, you can like tribute this with like Mudan or something like that, and then get another like loci on the field and then just do it all over again. It's actually like pretty decent. It didn't come up today, but it could come up sometime in the future. Next we're on 1 copy of Thrasher, 1 copy of Healer. We play the Thrasher because in the combo you can go into Melius and then you can use your Thrasher, or like summon a Thrasher. And it's actually really good because he gets a 3200 attack, and I think he can attack twice. I forget exactly, but it's actually like really good. You can go for game with it sometimes. It's like pretty decent. Next we're on 2 copies of Jasmine. The second one didn't come up, but the idea is that if you get imprimed on this, you can make a second Jasmine, and then you'll still have a plant that you can tribute to get into your Rikka engine. It's a pretty good card, honestly. I really like it. However, I think in the future, just because like usually when someone's playing against this deck, they'll imprime the Dryas or something like that. So I think that in the future, I think my Jasmine is probably going to become a Zeus, and I'll tell you why in a second. We also played 1 copy of the Sylvan Link. This card's absolutely busted. There was a time where I I think, impermed on my Dryas. And so I ended on... but I had sewing. Like, I hard opened sewing. So I went, like, Lokai, Link for Dryas, activate sewing, summon Twin, and then I went... effect to summon from like deck, or not from deck, from extra deck, and then they impermed it, and then I just used 2 monsters and made this, and then just like milled like 3 plants. Maybe I don't think I milled 3. I think I milled 2, but it was insane. Later on in the day, I did mill 3 with this, which is absolutely insane. But yeah, being able to like mill plants for free is just so good. It's literally like your own version of like Havness or something. I don't know. It's actually insane. 1 copy of Melius, 1 copy of Bangalancer. Nothing to say about these. They're insane. Then for extra deck Xyz monsters, we're on 2 copies of Strenna. Super good card, obviously. 1 Sacred Tree Beast Hyperiton, 1 Teardrop, and 1 Kanzashi. So Kanzashi is really weird, and a lot of people don't play it. The reason I played it today is because it's just any 2 level 6 monsters, which means you can make it with Bestial monsters. So the really cool thing is that you can turn any 2 Bestials into a Kanzashi, and then you can use it to, you know, tribute it for Mudan or a lot of other stuff. A lot of people also don't know that there's actually a Kanzashi OTK. It didn't come up today, but the idea is that if you have Teardrop and Kanzashi, it's game. You attack with Teardrop, then you attack with Kanzashi, and then you go Teardrop effect, tribute itself, you Kanzashi, bring it back, and that's exactly 8,000 damage, because it's 28, 24, that's 52, 28, that's 8,000, that's game. So, which is these 2 monsters, it's exact game through an open game state, which is something important to know, I think. But yeah, the Zeus line I wanted to mention was that I really wanted to play Zeus because of the Kanzashi, because there was a time today where I could have just used Kanzashi to attack and then overlaid a Zeus and just cleared the whole board. So I think that in the future, that second Jasmine, or maybe even the second Dryas, or not second, but third Dryas, would become a Zeus, just because I want that line to be available to me with the Bestial monsters if I am already playing them. But yeah, that was the deck profile, at least for the extra deck. Moving on to the side deck, the last little bits of the deck. We have 3 copies of Ash. Basically, in any matchup where the Bestials are just like kind of mid, you can side out 2 Druis and a Magna and put these in. Or when you go first, you can side out all of them, put these 6 in. So the 3 Magna, 3 Druis, and then you just put in the Rivalry and Ash. So that was the idea behind these cards, just as replacements for the Bestials. Then the rest of the deck is just board breakers. So we play 3 copies of Lightning Storm, 3 copies of Evenly, and 3 copies of Dark Ruler. Basically just Flunder Hate. Not really much else to say about that. These cards are great. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think the Evenly came out today. And the Lightning Storm didn't. But honestly, this deck had a pretty decent like showing today. Like, it was able to crack boards pretty decently, so I was actually pleasantly surprised with this deck. So I would definitely recommend giving this deck a shot if you have not already. It's a really good deck. I'll probably be leaving a deck list in the description below if you want to try it, as always. With all that said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you later.